The news is live on Joy99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates dotted across Ghana's 16 regions, including Lolonyo FM in Hohoe, A1 Radio, Dreams FM in Bogatanga, Jubilee Radio in Keta, Pad FM in Damango, and Kekeli Radio in Ho. We are also on your Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com. This afternoon,
we pray that they will put more income into the system for us to get some to use it.
Since things started escalating, they've not done anything about it.
I'm expecting an increment in my salary.
We'll get to hear all about the push for funds in a period of economic crisis, but interest groups are warning against introduction of new taxes as Finance Minister prepares to deliver mid-year budget review.
To what extent are we going to use the more revenue and the rationalization, the gains, to be able to meet the arrears of the social intervention program?
We are not expecting any increase in the old taxes, the rate of taxes, or introduction of new.
We're live in Parliament, and also some trained nurses have picketed demanding that government employs them.
We don't understand why we have assessed the portal together with the diplomas and then the degrees, and we are still in the house.
Right now, we are not burdens to our families. Some of them are thinking that we failed our exams.
We have live updates, and also this afternoon, one more person suspected to have died from the deadly Marburg virus. 40 others quarantined after enhanced contact tracing exercised by the Ghana Health Service.
One close contact reported symptoms and died on the 21st of July 2022.
Also this afternoon,
I can't leave my job and go and stand there. Because of the card, I will lose my job.
I want the deadline to come so that they take it on themselves.
I am not bothered. Looking at the quiet number of people who have not registered their SIM cards, I'm not sure it will hold.
Frustrated clients, unsatisfactory services, and plain disinterest, the many reasons hampering progress of the SIM card registration with barely a week to end of the exercise. I have details of that in sports.
It's a pivotal day in Kumasi as Prosper Natiogum is set to meet with Asante Kotoko's board and management to find a resolution to the club scales. To bring you updates in 20 minutes.
And later in the bulletin, a man of peace, a peace park, and the unending controversy.
There have also been unfortunate accusations leveled by some against government about the supposed desecration of the tomb of the late president in the process of rehabilitating the park. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Unconscionable and uncanny for this to be done without recourse to his family.
I'll tell you about how Ghana marked the 10th anniversary of a former president. That and more here on the Midday News. Also, we'll tell you all about what you missed from the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair.
A program like this is very essential to bring down the housing deficit.
Somebody that I'm starting life afresh, I can own a land or a house. It will not be that difficult for me.
And then also, we'll talk about a sneak peek review of our all-new Joy Campus train that pitched camp at the Vandal City at the University of Ghana. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Thanks for staying with us. As always, the experience is better when you watch us live on Facebook, also on myjoyonline.com and our YouTube channel. This afternoon, interest groups and economists are urging government to take advantage of the mid-year review to attempt to put the economy back on track. They believe it should be an opportunity for government to equally be upfront on the state of affairs and announce some measures to alleviate the plight of Ghanaians. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will in the next hour urge Parliament to approve more money to fund the 2022 budget in his mid-year review statement shortly. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante has more on what to expect in the following report.
Ken Ofori-Atta is presenting this mid-year budget review at a time most NDC MPs are signing on to a motion seeking its removal through a vote of censure. It is also at the time of talks with the IMF for a bailout, despite the minister insisting previously that Ghana was never going to return to the fund. Indeed, the statement was postponed 2 weeks ago to accommodate IMF staff who were in the country to negotiate a potential deal.
We need all the space and time to enable us give them all the data they are requesting for. So that's how come we are asking Parliament to postpone the mid-year so that when they leave on Wednesday, and then quickly we can start looking at though we are almost done with it.
Government admits the economy is facing a crisis, and the minister will use this statement to reiterate measures taken to cushion Ghanaians and announce new ones. NDC MPs in particular are expecting a showdown after accusing government of massaging figures to make the economy look good.
It will be clear that the government is against itself, that the finance minister has his own data, the governor has his own data. So which one would we believe? And which one would the investor community believe?
Initially, Ken Ofori-Atta was not expected to ask for more money from Parliament, but last week's business statement in the House announced a change of plans. The minister is now expected to present supplementary estimates for MPs to consider. Ken Ofori-Atta will also apprise MPs about the performance of the controversial e-levy, which has been in implementation for some few months now.
I'll take you live to Parliament shortly, but first, economist Professor Godfred Bopping believes the finance minister must provide key data on the state of the economy, especially on its tax policy and impact on Ghanaians.
It will be good for the minister to use this opportunity to tell us what savings have been made and how those savings have been applied. And then we are also looking at the debt stock overall. We are not so keen about the central debt stock because we have a fair idea of what it is, but we are also interested in how accumulated arrears across various subsectors at the micro level, because where we are now, we are not only in a macroeconomic crisis, we have moved beyond that to the micro. E-levy, because it's a disruption, I am not only interested in how much government has mobilized, I am also interested in the negative disruptions this has brought to bear on the charging agents.
We can now hear from the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. They say government should not introduce any new taxes. Yes, Joseph Obeng.
We are not expecting new introduction of new taxes. Neither are we also expecting that the old rate of taxes be increased. What we are expecting is that they should put measures in place that will enhance or that will ensure compliance. That's all that government needs at this moment, because the good people of Ghana cannot be settled again looking at the inflation trends and all that. But the inflation that we are experiencing now is as a result of cost accumulation. So anything that will add up to cost means that then the people of Ghana cannot even take it any longer.
Well, the Center for Development Initiatives wants government to protect social intervention programs with the aim of protecting the poor. Alexis Daniku is Executive Director.
More keenly looking forward to see how the Honourable Minister will let us know what have been the gains in terms of the revenue rationalization and all those leakages that we have put in place to make sure that we bring in more revenue. To what extent are we going to use the more revenue and the rationalization, the gains, to be able to meet the arrears of the social intervention program? Look, for example, domestic violence and victim support. In the budget, we have made provision that we are going to transfer, or we are going to give them a ceiling of 2 million Ghana cedis. That is woefully inadequate.
Well, let's head to Parliament House now. First, outside the precincts of Parliament, and then we enter because some trained nurses have picketed the House ahead of the mid-year budget review. After 3 years of sitting at home, the nurses say they have now become a burden to their families. Papani has been covering that for us. He joins us on the line. Papani, we understand they were moved from the premises of Parliament. What exactly were the reasons?
Yeah, so they are just there in front of Parliament with their placards, with inscriptions on it that employ us now. Some of them said that, well, they have been unemployed for the past 3 years. They finished in 2019. They are speaking to who has to be speaking to, the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service. I've even spoken to opinion leaders, but that has not yielded much.
We don't understand why we have assessed the porter together with the diplomas and then the degrees, and we are still in the house. The degrees are at post, the diplomas too are also at post. But as for the NAS and then the NAPs, we are still in the house.
Right now, we are now burdens to our families. Some of them are thinking that we failed our exams. which is not so.
Also help our family members. We can also help our siblings that they are in school so that they can also become a better future in Ghana too.
So, Papani, you've been interacting with some of them, and what exactly will make them go back to the classrooms? And we know the situation that went on in other precincts of Parliament. Tell us more. Okay, it appears that I don't have Papani there on the line, but my colleague, parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante, also joins us from with the chamber ahead of the budget review. In the next hour, we're expecting the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, to address Parliament with the mid-year budget review. Kweku, what's the latest in Parliament, you'd say?
So, Emefa, the House convened, started considering business, but has just taken a break, awaiting the Finance Minister, who we are told will arrive in the House in the next 30 minutes. It's expected that his presentation will begin at 1 p.m. What we are told is that the Finance Minister is going to ask for more money. He's going to say that the economy is working and that the deal with the IMF is supposed to show up what government has already started. And so in the next 30 minutes or so, we expect Ken Ofori-Atta to arrive in Parliament.
And we'll be bringing you live coverage of that on the Joy News channel, Joy99.7 FM, and all our social media platforms. But some of you have been sharing your thoughts ahead of the media budget review.
Being a teacher and a public servant, I'm expecting an increment in my salary. Even though they told us they will give us COLA by at the end of July, it never came. We've been told that we should wait till August. So we are waiting. And even we've been told that it will go up to only December.
So I'll be expecting to hear from the Finance Minister about the IMF deal. I want to know more about it and how far.
We can talk about the virus, how it's going, if it's increasing or decreasing. So you can see we are not hearing of it.
Oh, you are not expecting anything because now since things started escalating, they've not done anything about it. So we are not expecting anything.
We expect that the Finance Minister will rely more on the budget about the activities of the youth, since more of the youth are unemployed, and also the economy is very hard. So we pray that they will put more income into the system for us to get some to use it.
Yes, so listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. And this afternoon, one more person is suspected to have died from the deadly Marburg virus, with at least 40 others quarantined in the Savannah region. The deceased is said to be a relative of one of the two persons who had died from the virus in June. The two people who died days apart after reporting to the hospital with hemorrhagic fever. Health authorities say the deceased showed symptoms of the Marburg virus days after the stipulated incubation period. Here's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji.
Unfortunately, one close contact reported symptoms after the maximum incubation period. That was after the 21 days, reported some symptoms and died on the 21st of July 2022. This, for the sake of the family, these are very, very close relatives or members of the deceased. Where under normal circumstances they are higher risk. But what is interesting here is that it came after the 21 days quarantine. So we've taken samples and following up with them. We have identified 40 additional contacts within the Savannah region where the incident occurred. 11 of them are health workers, and 11 out of the 40 are health workers, and the rest are other new members, including patients.
Well, he also announced the rollout of a comprehensive public health measure, with all districts now on the alert as part of broader nationwide containment measures. But as this goes on, there are raging concerns about the possible risk posed by a colony of bats currently at a 37 military hospital. Virologist with the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIG, Dr. Yalbediakon, wants a biological investigation to ascertain the real risk posed by the birds.
On the surface, it's unlikely that those bats pose a threat. However, given what is, the reports of Marburg and the linkages that we know between some of these viruses and animals like bats, it may be useful to at least have some surveillance done of the colony just to give ourselves the extra layer of assurance that there is nothing circulating in that colony. So I would assume that there is probably some ongoing surveillance that happens in animal populations like the 37 military hospital bat population. It would probably be a good idea to at least have some surveillance going so that if anything emerges, it can be identified quickly and dealt with.
That's Dr. Yao Bediako. Well, we'll stay a while longer on the health front because the monkeypox virus is now spreading through communities in Ghana. At least 34 new cases have been recorded since the outbreak last month, with more than half of those cases detected in the capital, Accra. There's been no death so far, thankfully, but the World Health Organization has elevated the seriousness of the disease as many countries struggle to contain it. Let's hear once again from Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji.
Ghana has so far recorded about 34 cases. The last confirmed case was on the 15th of July. The first 30 we had about 20 of them from Greater Accra. We are working with the Veterinary Services Department to conduct assessment in affected communities to look for what are the possible causes so that we can identify possible contacts and those at risk.
That's Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji. Well, for men who sleep with women and then also with multiple sexual partners, your chance of contracting the disease is even higher. I'm told men who sleep with men, actually. Here's the WHO Director General, Jesus.
Although I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern, for the moment, this is an outbreak that's concentrated among men who have sex with men, especially those with multiple sexual partners. That means that this is an outbreak that can be stopped with the right strategies in the right groups.
Well, you can't be sleeping with other men as a man. And that's a WHO Director General, Jesus, there with that warning. Now, a combination of frustrated clients looking to secure their Ghana cards, customers disappointed by their service providers, and others who are just not interested. A few of the reasons hampering the progress of the ongoing SIM registration exercise. The process involves subscribers linking their SIM card details to their Ghana card. The deadline for the exercise has been reviewed at least 3 times already, with the Ministry of Communications warning there will be no more extensions. Eslo Uzwekufo is the minister in charge.
We must make it difficult for the criminals who hack our systems and defraud us through multiple online channels to operate. And this SIM registration exercise is one of the steps the government is taking in that regard. Essentially, this stresses the point that this registration exercise will enable the establishment of a subscriber database with integrity to keep consumers safe from scams and fraud. It is therefore the responsibility of all of us who own SIM-enabled devices to take part in this registration exercise. Over 12 million Ghanaians have linked their Ghana cards to their SIM cards. And this shows that a lot of us understand the need for this exercise, especially to sanitize the telecommunications environment. I therefore take this opportunity to urge all who've not registered or are yet to register their SIM cards to do so. The deadline of 31st July is a few days away. It will not be extended.
As we draw near to the deadline, just 12 million subscribers have so far successfully gone through the process. Others are still yet to do so. Here's why.
There's a huge queue over there, and some are paying. So I'm working for somebody, and I can't leave my job and go and stand there and read because of the card. I will lose my job. Then nowadays there's a difficult getting a job. That's why I've not registered. So there's a problem over there. If the government can extend it or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I've not registered it yet. I want to get rid of it. There are services, so I just want to get rid of it. I want the deadline to come so that they take it off themselves. That's my main reason.
So it's quite stressful and time consuming. You know, you definitely need to go to the offices to do the to do the biometric registration. And then looking at the stressful nature, they definitely day in there, when you go there, there are a lot of people there. Do you understand? That is why I have not registered one yet. I have not bothered. Looking at the quiet number of people who have not registered their SIM cards, I'm not sure it will hold.
My Ghana card is spoiled. So right now I will go to the police station to go and report. Then I'll collect the report form to go to the head office.
Yeah, I register a Vodafone. I haven't registered a Vodafone, but I register MTN. Well, I will try my best that I will register it, but now I'm very busy. That's why I didn't register it.
Time for a quick breather here on the Midday News. We are live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra in Kumasi. It's on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com, live on Facebook, Spotify, and over 30 affiliates dotted across Ghana's 16 regions. There's been a push for funds in a period of economic crisis, but interest groups are warning against introduction of new taxes as Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta prepares to deliver the mid-year budget review in a few minutes. We are live in Parliament. When we return, we have sport, and then later, a man of peace, a peace park, and the unending controversy.
There have also been unfortunate accusations leveled by some against government about the supposed desecration of the tomb of the late president in the process of rehabilitating the park. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Unconscionable and uncanny for this to be done without recourse to his family.
And I'll tell you all about what you missed at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, the mini clinic, and then also a sneak preview of our all-new Joy Campus train, the pitched camp at the Vandal City at the University of Ghana.
I can say with authority that even in the church congregation, you're going to see people that are rowdy and whatever it is. So
when the girls come and they are in red, we praise them.
Akwaba, but Akwaba Magic Ebusia, brand new channel, Tia Roba, Emuno Tiao, Ewo DSTV channel 149, and Go TV channel 108. Enianom Akwaba Magic Ebusia, Eddie Nidia Ghanaian programs mu Baufi, a bit said the day to have and to hold, and Yom Senior Cassia series and a talk show, Bemoaka TV sets Nichi. Akwaba Magic Ebusia, Ewo DSTV access to your 50 Ghana cedis per and Go TV value to your 25 Ghana cedis per Ebusia Akwaba.
Thanks for choosing us. Let's do sports. Reku Amefa.
Well, Kotoko fans are a bit curious because it's crunch time for the Porcupine Warriors. Now, in the past few days, we've had various reports concerning Prosper Nate Ogum's desire to leave the club. But today is expected that there would be some finality in the issue as the Kotoko coach meets with the board and the management. Our man, Steve Zando, is in Kumasi and put together this report on what to expect from the meeting.
The meeting, which will be held in Kumasi, was scheduled to start at 12 noon, but our last check revealed it was yet to commence. According to our checks, Ogum has made its position clear. That is to leave the club. The coach we hear will do a PowerPoint presentation of what transpired during the 2021-2022 football season, after which he will formally tender in his resignation letter. The management, also led by CEO Nanayo Amponsa, will also touch on the recent clash between the management and head coach Dr. Prosper Gumnate. The expectation of today's meeting is that the board will seek to resolve the crisis and bring the issue to a closure, but it is likely the management will resign if the board of directors insist coach Dr. Prosper Gumnate should stay.
That's our reporter Steve Zando in Kumasi. I will be bringing you updates on this issue on our subsequent bulletins as well.
Well, and we look forward to the Olympics. Millicent Ankude representing us in tennis. I can't wait for that. Now, while on earth, he was mainly tagged as a man of peace. No surprise that upon his demise, his final resting place was christened the Asumdwe Park. The 10th anniversary of his passing could well be described as far, far away from peaceful. From claims his grave has been desecrated to two separate events to mark the day. We'll bring you a wrap of all you've missed, but first, his family and colleagues have been sharing touching stories of the man, Professor John Evanzata Mills, in a Joy News documentary, Ghana's Greats.
Incidentally, that Tuesday he passed away. I was with him. I went to pray with him. He didn't show any sign of passing away. When I went that Tuesday, the people I've been sending to pray with him were also, that week was their week of fasting and prayer. So I passed there. I passed the pastors to greet them. Then he sent for me, that he was waiting for me. So when Jude came and joined me, we went and prayed with him and we left. Then about some 2-3 hours, the bodyguard called me that something happened to me and they rushed me to 37 Military Hospital. So we were all praying and unfortunately God took him away.
We will always wonder whether he would have gone if
he hadn't gone into politics.
I do miss him a lot. He was a very funny person who cracked jokes. You will not believe some of the things that he would say with a straight face. Practical jokes all the time.
A great oak had fallen. An exemplary leadership icon was no more. A father, a mentor, and a legal colossus could not walk again. Professor Mills had died. It's been 10 years since Professor Mills died, but a decade after his passing, his life continues to inspire many in Ghana and beyond.
And the full documentary, Ghana's Great, airs later tonight at 8 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Well, we have the following the new desk report capturing the two events that marked 10 years since his passing.
It all started when brother of former President Samuel Atta Mills visited the Asumdue Park and alleged the grave may have been tampered with.
Now that you've gone to touch it, is the body still in that grave? What did you put in that grave? What kind of rituals did you perform over there? Why would you go and touch the grave without informing us? Who has the body now?
A former aide of Professor Mills, who leads the Atta Mills Institute, Koku Anyidoho, dismissed the claims.
Who removed the remains? Who removed the remains? Who removed the remains? A wooden box, an ugly wooden box that was used to cover that thing by John Dramani Mahama. And we have removed that thing and we are giving it a granite stone. And Samuel Atta Mills says what?
On Sunday, July 24, two events took place at Asumdue Park. The first was graced by President Akufo-Addo, who reopened the park. He described Professor Mills as a man who will not be forgotten.
That Asumdue Park has been elevated to a status befitting the final resting place of a President of the Republic of Ghana. I did so with that objective solely in mind, and not to exploit or take advantage of any so-called divisions.
He also touched on a controversy regarding the renovation.
There have also been unfortunate accusations leveled by some against government about the supposed desecration of the tomb of the late president in the process of rehabilitating the park. Nothing could be further from the truth.
It was quite an emotional moment when Koku Anyidoho mounted the podium to speak.
President John Atta Mills, I pledge to you on this same ground in 2020 that by the kind grace of God, I will not allow your final resting place to continue to remain a place of shame before the multitude and the hosts above. I promised to ensure that your memory is properly honored. Sir, thank you. You were a friend, you were a father, you were a mentor.
About 2 hours later, former President John Dramani Mahama led a team comprising family of the former president and key NDC members to mark the day. He described the controversy as needless.
Any effort to give a facelift to this park called Asumdue Park, where his mortal remains lie and where we're holding this event, should be welcomed, as it is no more than Professor Mills would have deserved for his outstanding contributions to our nation's development and its forward march. It is, however, untenable, unconscionable, and uncanny for this to be done without recourse to his family.
Former President John Mahama ending that news desk report. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says it is offensive that a bust unveiled to honor the memory of former President Atta Mills after his death does not have his own name. He's been addressing a news conference.
If you go to that of John Evans Atta Mills, our respected president, beneath the bust is not his name. It is that unveiled by Nana Addo Dankwa. That is not Mills's name, Professor Mills' name. That is not his name. And we find that incredibly unacceptable and offensive.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. Well, it was a busy weekend for exhibitors and patrons of this year's Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. It was the first mini clinic as attractive housing deals were signed off amid heavy discounts and other special packages. My colleague Charles Ayute has more.
The theme for this year's edition, Where You Live Matters, resonated with each and every housing offer exhibited at the mini clinics over the weekend.
We are being very conscious of how the community looks like, well-demarcated roads, drainages. We are very conscious about that.
The mini clinics of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair brought prospective homeowners an inch closer to living their housing dreams.
I'm very impressed because a program like this is very essential to bring down the housing deficit.
Somebody that I'm starting life afresh, I can own a land or a house. It will not be that difficult for me.
You need to catch the second mini clinic as we gear towards the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. We have to own a home this year, definitely. But I'll leave you with morale sessions with the Vandals from the first edition of Joy Campus. You want to stay for that? We have Living Word with Pastor Mensotabil. After that, I am Emefa. Apawu. Many thanks for your company.
I can say with authority that even in a church congregation, you're going to see people that are rowdy and whatever it is. So it is not about our home. I don't see any data or research to prove this. Everybody can say anything, but you don't see this associated with Commonwealth Hall.
The thing is that we don't hoot at the girls. When the girls come and they are in red, we praise them. We praise them simply because we believe that our color is red. So if a lady should be in red, means she's one of us. So we praise her by singing koko koko na epese ohwe na se umpe koko embedi echi na weni begwasi koko. You get it? So we are praising the girls. We are not hooting at them. This should go straight to everyone out there that we never lay hands on girls. Never. Because when the girls are around us, we feel very happy. We feel the feminine part of us.
I can say with authority that even in a church congregation, you're going to see people that are rowdy and whatever it is. So
when the girls come and they are in red, we praise them.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That's happy moments listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged